Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 22nd of November 2019. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, also, just before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, which you can check out on a daily basis because we update it on the same daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab, and it'll take you to our page where we post our analysis for the day. So, but right now, guys, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the CAC40, so the French index. We haven't looked at this one for quite a while now, but also kind of is presenting itself with some nice opportunities. So, of course, overall, we're still kind of climbing higher, and it depends if you want to draw a nice upside support line taken from the low of the 15th of August. Basically, you can see that still overall the index is above above this upside line. The only thing is, don't get me wrong, it's quite extended here. It has distance itself. It had distanced itself quite a lot. So basically, but lately, after finding good resistance near this level right here, let me just quickly put this one on the chart, finding resistance near the 5,967 zone, it started drifting lower. And looking at this 4-hour chart, you can see that the price is already kind of balancing below its 20 SMA inside the Bollinger Band, below the 21 EMA on the 4-hour chart. Again, of course, it is kind of looking a little bit more to the bearish side, but yesterday we had a nice positive day here. Of course, don't get me wrong, we could see this one continuing to the downside. The only thing is that at this point in time, we should be very careful, because in a way it could lead to, it could go a little bit higher. It could go for a little bit more correction here to the upside. Maybe, like I said, maybe test some of these higher levels, maybe test even the 20 SMA on the inside the Bollinger Bands. So that's why, guys, with the downside, you should be probably very careful here, and in a way, you could keep an eye on this little area right here near the 5,860 mark, 5960, roughly around there, because this is where that's the low basically of the 20th of November. Also, that's the opening price, kind of roughly around there, the opening price of the 21st of November, and in a way, if we'd see a drop below the 58.60 zone, then this would also push the price below its 50 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So in a way, we could see this a little bit of a bearish sign here. The only thing is, of course, for that extra confirmation, ideally a drop below the yesterday's low would be kind of even better. So but until then, kind of this is the level where you could start looking at lower areas. Still be very careful, because like I said, it could reverse reverse back to the upside without even testing this yesterday's low. But if it starts breaking the yesterday's low, which is roughly around the 5,834 level, then yep, this of course, logically, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, we could start aiming for lower areas. And one of the areas that we're going to be targeting is going to be this one right here, near the 5,778 zone, marked by the high of the 31st of October and the high of the 1st of November. So we'll keep an eye on that one. In terms of the upside, if this one suddenly decides to push further north here, So in a way, if it starts pushing above the 5,910 zone, then we will be very careful here. We're probably going to take a very neutral approach. We're just going to continue observing the price action, and just we're going to see what it wants to do around here, because ideally we would like to see push above the 5,967 zone, and only then target higher areas, because as you can see, and if I'm going to jump into the daily chart, and actually for this one probably more of a monthly chart could do here, because as you can see, we're not at our highs. We are at the all-time well, at the highs of this year. We were at the highs of this year, but still there are some good levels here, especially looking at this picture here, the highest point of 2017 here, which is roughly around the 6,168 zone. So basically, if we do get a clear move above the high of this year here, at 5967, roughly around there, then yep, we could consider a further move higher. And initially, of course, we will target that psychological 6,000 level, but then we'll take it from there, because like I said, it does have an attractive level there, the highest point of 2007. So let's keep an eye on this one. A quick mentioning of WTI oil. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, and basically yesterday I talked about this one, this idea that we've posted before it exploded here to the upside. It almost managed to reach our 58.70 zone, and kind of just fell shy of a few points from hitting that, but we'll count that as a success in a way. So basically we had a nice move here. We had a nice the target was almost met, let's put it out, or we can actually consider it being met, but at this point in time here, I mean, given that it had a great run here and it had a good push above the 57.81 zone, in a way we could see maybe this one correcting a little bit lower. And by the way, this level also coincides with today's pivot, so which kind of also puts a lot of significance on it. So in a way, if it decides to drift a little bit lower here, this is the area that we're going to be keeping an eye on, because if it gets a hold up here, we could see a nice curve and a push back to the upside, where we will aim for the same 58.70 zone, but this time probably it may break it to the upside, and the next target for us is going to be around the 59.23 level. So in terms of the downside, we'll consider slightly lower levels if we see a drop below the 57.10 zone, but then again, the downside could be limited due to this lower bound of the rising channel. For now, we're keeping an eye on it, even though we did have violation here, but for now we're keeping an eye on it. We'll see if it actually respects it later on as well. So let's for now, that's the game plan, guys. For now, we're more bullish than bearish. For those who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait for a push above the 58.70 and then target higher levels, because this way the commodity would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, we could aim for these higher levels. Bitcoin, quick mentioning of this. I talked about this one yesterday as well. So basically, I was telling you guys that if we see this level here, the 7,860 level, got violated, and basically this could in a way lead towards further declines, and still the same target that we're aiming here for is the 7,333 mark, which is the low of the 23rd of October. So again, for now we're just targeting that. I kept talking about this level, by the way, even here where when we broke the this key area of support near the 8,370, and now you can see that how perfectly this is moving to the downside. But again, we will keep an eye on this level right here, because in a way we could see maybe some decent support around this area, from which the commodity, the crypto could reverse back to the upside. So in a way, our main kind of scenario for now will be something, there we go, wait, something like this. There we go. So keep your eyes on this one. If of course this level starts breaking, and don't forget we may see a false breakout as well, so have this in mind. So ideally, if you want to consider further declines, probably wait for a close or of a 4-hour candle, or maybe even actually a daily candle would be even better. So a daily candle, a close below this could in a way lead towards further declines, but we'll get to that point if we see that happening. For now, we're just targeting this level. AUDJPY. Now, this is something quite interesting, and you can see that how tight everything is here. Basically, on one hand, it is still overall above this upside support line taken from the low of the 25th of August, but on the other hand, it's kind of failing to form some higher highs. So in a way, we're keeping an eye on this one. It's quite interesting. It could present itself with a nice opportunity. The only thing is that probably just to be on the safe side. Of course, yes, if we do get a break of this upside line, that's wonderful. We could see a further move lower. Then, of course, we'll keep an eye on this little target right here, the low of the 20th of November, near the 73.47. But to be honest, a slightly better potential area for breakout to the downside could be seen as this one, the 73.34 mark, which is the low of the 14th of November, or in other words, the current lowest point of November. So if we get a drop below this, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and there is a bunch of levels that we could target, like the 72.97 or even the 72.54, roughly around here. These are the levels that we could be targeting. Of course, initially we'll go with the closest one, and then we'll take it from there. With the upside, even if it, let's say, rebounds from this upside line, as long as it kind of remains in this little territory right here, we're gonna stay somewhat neutral. But if it starts pushing above this little area near the 74.05, then in a way there could be an opportunity for this one to drift higher. So, but even then, we'll be very careful, cautious, because the good resistance is seen here near the 74.43 level. If we get a push above the 74.05, then yep, this would place the rate above its 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart, and there is a possibility we could see this one drifting higher. But again, like I said, be very careful here, because, like I said, we are at this upside line, and in a way, it could go anywhere. Of course, according to technical analysis rules, as long as it remains above the upside line, then we kind of should stick to the upside. The only thing is that we're trying to be maybe a little bit of ahead of the game here. So that's why, guys, I'm telling you to be a little bit more on the cautious side here, because if it starts breaking it to the downside, then it could be quite interesting for the bears, especially if the rate falls below the 73.34 level. USDCAD. Now, yesterday I talked about this one, and the idea initially was that it may drift lower. It could find maybe support around here near the 1.3294 zone, but if it doesn't, then we could drift lower and test this area right here near the 1.3270. So it did drift lower. It broke this area of support and tested the 1.3270, which actually provided some decent support. You can see that we are still hanging around above that, but we are below the 1.3294 zone and below today's pivot. So in a way, everything's kind of leaning more towards the downside. The only thing is that the downside, of course, could be limited due to this upside support line taken from the low of the 29th of October, but a short-term move lower, a short-term correction to the downside could be possible. So, but in order to get comfortable with that, we need to see a push below the 1.3260, or sorry, 1.3270 zone. So, or even ideally, at least a close of a 4-hour candle below this level. In terms of the upside, of course, if it suddenly starts pushing back above the 1.3294-95 zone, somewhere around here, then excuse me, then yes, we will aim for this one of our main targets here near the 1.3348 zone. As you can see, previously it acted as a fantastic area of resistance, so we'll keep an eye on that one. GBPUSD, also quick update on this, not much happening. So yesterday it sold off a little bit here, but still it continues to balance above, or should I say around, this short-term upside line here. So again, it did drift lower, it did break it, but never kind of dropped below the 1.2886. Then this is what I was talking about in my trader's tea time yesterday. So in order to consider further declines, we need to see a drop below this level, and then we will aim for lower areas like the 1.2767, and yep, we'll take it from there then. But again, it's kind of still balancing around here. So in a way, for now, we're just neutral on this one, but we're keeping a close eye on some of these levels. And if they do happen here, if they do get a break, if we do get a break here lower, then yep, we will consider these lower areas. With the upside, it's pretty straightforward. We're not going to do anything with the upside until we see a break of the 1.3013 level. So let's keep an eye on this one. And euro dollar. Now euro dollar, again, this is what I talked about yesterday. Basically, guys, we need to see a drop below the 1.1043 level before we could aim for lower areas, because yesterday in my trader's tea time I was telling you guys to keep close eye on this 200 EMA and this territory right here, because all this territory for us is somewhat of a neutral one here. That's roughly between the 1.1043 and the 1.1093. Yesterday I was telling you guys to keep an eye on the 200 EMA because we may see a drift lower, but then the pair could find some support maybe near the 1.1053 and 1.1051, and then reverse and push back to the upside. So this is what happened. Again, we are neutral on this one for now until we get a clear break through one of the levels that I've mentioned. So basically on the upside it's the 1.1093, and on the downside is the 1.1043. So in a way, actually, I can shift this highlighted area just to kind of mark that area here for the downside. There we go. It'll be probably much clearer. So yeah, that's basically the level. But even if, let's say, if we see a drop below the 1.1043, we are not gonna drag this one too much to the downside. Initially, we'll only target the 1.0989 level, which is the current lowest point of November. So let's keep an eye on this one, guys. Very interesting developments here. We're waiting for that pop, either a pop through the upper side here or a drop below the 1.1043 level. So let's keep an eye on this one. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me later on at my trader's tea time, as always, that's 14:15 GMT. For now, guys, I hope you have a beautiful trading day. Don't forget, today's Friday. Don't overtrade. Try to keep it to a minimum, because sometimes, as you know, on Fridays we do get huge swings, huge one-way traffics, and yep, sometimes it's difficult to get out of those trades, and you know, sometimes we have to keep them over the weekend. So let's avoid that. Let's avoid doing that, and try to keep your trades to a minimum, guys. Because, like I said, it's Friday. Let's not ruin our weekend. Anyway, join me on my trader's tea time later on, 14:15 GMT. And we will have a look at some other instruments, and we'll see how the market is performing. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.